This is hammered on a good-looking line. If anything, it may need to get down a touch.
Oh, man, was that hammered.
That's the longest shot of the day.
Hey guys, Christo Garcia, My Swing Evolution. Oh my gosh, it's raining here in Pasadena. Oh my gosh, the rains are still here. But it's a great day to make a video about my main man, Keith Mitchell. Let me tell you, I don't know if you saw it this last weekend, but that brother hung in there. I was rooting for VJ, and this guy snuck in there, and I'd never heard of him before. But I'll tell you what, this guy has got a great golf swing, and we are about to dig into it. I mean, it is outstanding. Let me just say that. He will win many more times on tour, mark my words. But I wanted to tell you guys a story about, oh my gosh, I get so many great letters from everybody. I want to thank everybody who emails me and writes me great letters and everything. But I got a letter recently that really, I just have to share it with you because it just made me feel so great. It says this: "Good morning, Christo. Thank you so very much for the downloads that you sent of Mr. Hogan and the Hogan Code. Thank you does not express the enjoyment that I have had in watching them. They are superb films which I have found entertaining, instructive, and motivational." So you see, my enjoyment goes far beyond just thank you. Like you, I have studied Mr. Hogan, the man and his technique, for many years, since 5 Lessons was first published in the UK in 1957. It's a hard study given that Mr. Hogan was semi-reclusive in the golfing world. Fortunately, you had the dogged determination to pursue all these avenues and make 2 very good films about it. In the late 1960s, I was lucky enough to meet John Schlee at Royal Birkdale and corresponded with him for several years afterwards. He was very helpful and educated me about Mr. Hogan and his many techniques. I also became great friends with Doug Sanders, and while Doug would never admit to being a fan of any golfer, the golfer he quoted most to me was Mr. Hogan. I've actually spent several days with Doug Sanders as well, and we had many conversations about Mr. Hogan, and he really taught me a bunch of things, like, keeping the club square long after the strike. Back to the email. So you see, along with every book, magazine, and video that I could lay my hands on, I learned as much as I could about Mr. Hogan, but your downloads still filled in many gaps. You've earned my eternal gratitude, and thank you for that, Christo. Please keep studying and producing these wonderful films, as your ability to spotlight the life and times of this great man is without peer. Should you ever get over to the UK with a spare day, I'd love to host you at Royal Lytham and introduce you to the vagaries of links golf. Thank you once again for your contribution to my education. I'd love to meet up with you when you're over here. Kind personal regards, Eddie. So, yes, that's the former head professional of Royal Lytham in St. Anne's writing me about Ben Hogan. Isn't that just nuts? I'm hoping I'm going to get over there this year because I want to celebrate my 50th up in Scotland. Couple things have to go right, but I'm working as hard as I can to make it happen. So let's take this time to jump into this video of Keith Mitchell, and I want to remind everybody, this March 16th is the next MSE Intensive. It's the last one on the books for quite a while. So if you want to come out, get out of the snow, or just have a great full day of golf instruction, it's my entire program from beginning to end. And we're also going to play on Sunday. You can stick around for that if you'd like. So hit me up, Christo, at myswingevolution.com, and hit them long and hit them straight. All right, guys, so we are going to start out with a couple of short swings from Mr. Mitchell, and he just has it dialed in here. So I'm going to point out a couple things with his wedge game that are very, very important because they flow into the big game, the long driving and everything else. But if these elements are not present in your golf swing with even a half shot, you're probably not going to have control over it when the swing gets longer and faster. So the first thing I'd like to point out is how Mr. Mitchell has a nice deep set for his center of gravity, okay? So let's look here. You'll notice that he has good bend in his legs here. I'm reminded of Jason Day. His derriere is out behind his heels. So if your center of gravity is in the middle between the top of your hips or your pelvis, he's got his center of gravity, back towards his heels, which Ben Hogan said 3 times in Power Golf, the weight is through the heels. And when your center of gravity is closer to the ball, it's very likely once you accelerate the club that you'll be moving closer to the ball, and then the only way to create room is to stand up. But all of the pros maintain their hip depth. This allows them to rotate freely. Okay, so we're going to watch Mr. Mitchell here. Let's watch him hit this one. It just looks so easy. This is what we want, this effortless power. But it wouldn't be effortless if his center of gravity wasn't deep enough. Okay, look at this great depth he has in his hips. Now that's going to create the room for his arms. Also, if you run out of space, you're going to have to stand up. So it's a double-edged sword when that center of gravity moves closer to the ball. So you have to be working to keep it deep. I think natural golfers just understand that, and they just conquer that right out the gate, and the rest of us have to struggle with it. Here we see he catches it really cleanly and just smashes it. I want to point something else out as well. Notice how his right foot is going to roll. He rolls his ankles beautifully. Guys, I'm telling you, this is whoever's his golf coach should be very proud, because he has such a good golf swing. And we are really getting to a point where the golf swings are better than they've ever been. There's some things that I disagree with some teachers about, but things like this, that rolling the foot, keeping it planted, rotating the torso. Now, this is the other thing I'm going to point out that we're going to look at in the next swing, which is he's basically kind of punching down through the ball, and watch his right arm go across his chest. See how low that is through the ball? These pros are really flighting these wedges down, and to zero out that path, you got to go left with these, with these high lofted clubs. You can't swing down the line, or you're going to flare the ball out to the right. So that's part of what TrackMan has taught us about the golf swing nowadays. I love the game face that my man has. So once again, we're going to see the same hallmarks of this beautiful wedge shot here. Steady head, deep hips, weight deep in the heels. Yes, sirree. And then watch that low left across the chest finish with that right arm. He's not swinging up, he's swinging down and around. That's the feeling that I'm working on pretty hard in my golf swing. And what it does is it allows me to keep more pressure on the back of the shaft for a longer amount of time. When I used to swing down the line, I will tell you guys, I admire Johnny Miller, one of the greatest ball strikers and winners ever, but 10 years ago, he started screaming about this swing down the line business, and oh my God, it ruined my golf game. It ruined my swing for a long time. These guys are not doing that in the TrackMan age. Now they are zeroing out their path and face so that they can strike the ball with optimum accuracy. So the swing is a circle. There's no straight lines in a darn circle, okay? You don't swing down a line. But at any rate, let's continue on. We're going to see one of the best driver swings I've seen in a long time. Look at this pound. Boom! Yeah, this was the longest drive of the day on this hole. I mean, shoot, there's water long. He almost brought that into play. He pounded this thing so far. But what are the hallmarks that we're going to see? Oh, I want to point out something that's kind of hilarious to me. So Ben Hogan called the forefinger and the thumb on the rear hand the swing wreckers. And you'll see Brandt Snedeker, he takes those fingers right off the club. But watch Mr. Mitchell keep those fingers loose as he is fidgeting with the club here. You notice that? He's taking the tension out of those fingers before he rips this drive. Those fingers do not do anything for you in a driver swing. All they can do is screw you up. So you don't want to be pinching with those two top fingers, the thumb and forefinger of your rear hand. Okay, so we're going to watch him take this club back, and he's got the deep hips. He's got flex in his knees. And he's, he takes a club up higher like most of the guys do nowadays. This is going to help him really get some leverage. But I really want to talk about his footwork here, okay? So in the figure 8 weight shift, you're going to want your weight moving into the rear heel of your trail side. So we're going to see he takes a club to the top, and he looks to be pretty deep in that rear leg, okay? Now what happens is the weight travels from the heel of the rear foot to the ball of the left foot, and then back into the heel of the left foot for a right-handed golfer. So let's watch this transition. Head's perfectly steady, spine angle intact, and he's just going to rotate and blast through this ball. Boom! So let's watch how he gets there one more time. So the weight, you'll see, notice that it's almost like the toes of his left foot are slightly off the ground because you see them go down. Now, I'm going to advise do not press off the ground with your toes. There's certain guys that jump. I don't recommend jumping off the balls of your feet. But you'll see that his toes go from being up to his left foot firmly pressing into the ground here. And then you'll see the weight begin to travel into that heel. Because this is a circle. We're making a circle. We're rotating around. And he's got that baseball looking finish that, man, that's how you get leverage and pound the ball. So that left leg is creating a lot of pressure, and it's also giving him a good location for his bounce point where that club is going to begin to ascend into the ball. But again, watch that left leg and notice how it straightens and the weight goes into his rear heel with a slight bit of rotation on the heel as he just pounds it out there. Keeps his head down for a long time. So I want to take a look at that real quick. Let's see how he keeps his right elbow under. This is my great swing key right now. I've been talking about it for over a year, but as soon as that right arm gets over the left arm, you've got a flip and a hook. But if you can drive with that right elbow under and preserve it through impact, you're probably going to hit the ball pretty darn straight. It just depends on your grip slightly. I tried to hit a straight ball to fade off the tee, but he is just ripping it. That's how, when I started my swing evolution, I was at the pro tournaments and I just see them pound drivers dead straight. And all I could do was hit a push slice or a snap hook. And maybe once out of a half a dozen times I would get lucky and hit it in the fairway like 240 yards. But I was so much in admiration of the pros, how they could freewheel and pound the ball straight. And this is how they do it, guys. You got to keep your weight deep, have great structure, good rhythm, and then keep your right elbow under. Bam! And you can just rip the cover off the ball. So I hope that helps you guys out. I hope you come out to the MSE Intensive, and I hope you hit them long and hit them straight. Hey guys, so let's cut to the chase. Here's my old golf swing. And here's my new golf swing. Five years ago, I started a YouTube channel, and I wanted to improve my golf swing by using Ben Hogan's 5 lessons. Well, guess what? It worked. And along the way, I picked up over 8 million views on YouTube, and I learned how to shoot under par. Unbelievable, right? Well, the great news is I have a brand new instructional video called The Hogan Code. In this video, I break down everything that I learned over my long journey to learn to swing like Ben Hogan. And now you can learn the very same techniques that I used to become the golfer I always wanted to be.